Hi, it's Greg Milby, Kentucky's Heartland at kentuckysheartland.com, and we are on the road today. Wow, what a day. We are at Bernheim Forest. Bernheim is celebrating their 90th anniversary, so it's going to be a big year for Bernheim, or I should say a giant year.
Giant.
Or Giants year at Bernheim. Dr. Mark is with us, and Thomas is with us, and Thomas he's well dressed here, and he's official down here, so he's got it all taken care of today. Thomas is the artist that, as you come to Bernheim, and you're going to see these giants that we've been hearing about, just kind of hearing about a little bit, and now it is exploding all across the heartland. People are talking about these giants. So let me start with you, Thomas. You've done a few giants. How many giants have you created around the world?
I think these ones here in the Bernheim operation will be number 41, 2, and 3.
Do you know all the names of all the giants that you've created?
I think I could, if you gave me 5 minutes, I could probably remember all of them, yes.
So you have 3 giants here.
Yeah.
So tell me how this happens. When you come to town, you drive into Bernheim and you come in, and there's not a predetermined place where you put the giants. You decide at that point where they go. How do you make that decision?
It's a combination of how do you choose which pizza you're gonna order? It's like you know which one you like, you know which one you haven't tried yet. Some pizzas you've heard about, that one should be really nice. You really want to try it, and so it's a combination of all those things. And I came over here last year, and I spoke to Mark, and I really liked it here. And I could feel that Mark would also give me some artistic freedom of where to put my art, and trusted me. And then also I really like the park. I think it's amazing that there is such a beautiful, big and untouched park here, and combination of everything, and then
Yeah, but you don't make it easy. You put one where we can find it, but the other 2 here, you've kind of made it to where people need to get out a little bit, right?
Yeah, I like it when people they get challenged a little bit. I can normally say there's a lot of us, we work inside a box, and we sleep inside a box, and we drive to work inside a box, and we watch everything through a box. And I think it's good to challenge people to go outside that box and leave the beaten path, and because it's a classic, but it's true. It's not the destination, it's the journey, and that's why I want to challenge people to get lost, and then when they get lost, they find something beautiful they didn't think they would encounter, and then they find their way again, and then maybe take some of that experience back home to their box and remember that there is things outside the box.
And that's exactly what we like about the placement of these giants, is that there are 1 or 2 that are more accessible. There's a second or third one, depending on your abilities and your interests, that'll be more challenging. But like Thomas said, when you have 16,000 acres of land, it's important to show people that diversity, to get them near the water, get them in the forest, get them down some trails, really see what a meadow is like during all 4 seasons. And these giants are going to allow us to tell those stories about how important large forests are. And by having them here and there, and people having to look a little bit, it does help them create their own discoveries and their own stories about the giants.
And art is so important for Bernheim. I don't think everybody, maybe if they've not visited enough, they may not understand how important art is. So this is a great combination for Bernheim. So why is art so important?
Well, art is another way of looking at nature. It's a way that you can interpret nature and teach people to observe things around them. And artists like Thomas look at the world so much differently than I do as a scientist. And I greatly appreciate that. He stretches my imagination as well as that of our visitors. And art has been in the founding documents of Bernheim. Isaac Wolf Bernheim in 1929 said that we should have art in nature, to be prudent about it, but to have wonderful art in nature because it does connect people. Since then, we've had 39 years of artists in residencies, and Thomas is here under our Sighted at Bernheim program, where we do big, monumental stuff that in some cases is going to last forever, in other cases last for 2, 3, 5 years. In this case, we're hoping at least 3 years out of these forest giants.
Well, it is Kentucky weather. So you're an internationally renowned artist, which is amazing that we're able to have you here in the heartland to do that. How did you get started doing this type of art? What pushed you to do this?
It's a really, really long story. I'm 39 years old, like yeah, so it started at the beginning. Like my mother, she always tells this story that when I was a kid, all the other kids would take the toy box, turn the toy box on its head, and then they would. No, that's wrong. We have to edit it out. She always say that the other kids would take one toy off the toy box, and I would take the toy box and turn it upside down and crawl inside it, and pretend it was my boat or my car or something like that. So from a really early age, I've been thinking outside the box and building and creating really, really big imaginary things. And I've done that my whole life, and I'm still doing it now. Like I'm just traveling all over the world and building really, really big, weird things, turning something that used to be something else into something new on a big scale.
Do you just do giants? Is that your thing?
No, I do many different things. So like last year we did, I think we did maybe 15 giants, and then we did 2 of a project I have called the Happy Wall. People can look it up. It's a completely other story. And then we also did like a 5,000 square foot forest made of recycled plastic with 1,000 volunteers in Mexico City. So those were the big 3 projects. But they all have in common that they are all recycled, and they're interactive, and they are like made with the participation of the audience.
So with our giants here, it's all recycled material, it's all wood, pallets, things that have been used. I'm hoping there's bourbon barrels, correct?
There is.
Good.
Yeah.
So where do the materials come from? Do you just put this in a pile like a big box of Legos and say have fun with it, or does he kind of guide you in a direction of what he needs?
Well, having seen Thomas's work elsewhere, we decided that we wanted to give him the best palette of reused wood that was possible. And so we thought, what about Kentucky? What is special about Kentucky? So we have some pieces of oak trees and other things at his disposal. We have some bourbon barrel staves that had flaws and could not be used in bourbon barrels, and those are primarily, I believe, on the mother giant. We have pallets from local companies. We have recycled or reused scrap from building contractors from throughout the region, all the way into southern Indiana. And we have some bourbon barrel warehousing scraps, some big materials, and everything else. I mean, there's just a whole mess of cool stuff out there.
So
for
it's just
Thomas
wooden
to use.
Legos, basically, for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you do this, you were talking about volunteers. You just don't go in there and build it yourself. You have volunteers to help out.
Yeah.
You're not a control freak? You don't like when I have something that if I create anything, it's hard for me to give anybody else control, but you give the volunteers control to place wood in certain spots.
For me, it's like I like to have volunteers for different reasons. First of all, like my mission as an artist is to teach people about recycling, and if I want to do that, I cannot only show how to do it, I also have to involve people in how to do it, because like it's easier to learn how to make a pizza if you do it yourself and not watch anybody else do it. And also I think that more minds, they have come up with more funny ideas than just my mind. Like I have a creative mind, but I'm not as creative as like a whole group of people. So I think for me those 2 things, they come good alive, and they combine really good. And here we have from 4 to 8 volunteers every day that come throughout the 4 weeks we are here. So
over 200.
Wow.
Over 200 different people, and they come, like, of course people have different experiences and different tool sets that they come here, but like we all bring something to the table, and then it's up to me to try to figure out like this person can saw, this person can draw, this person can collect this, so everybody can help with something, and I think that's it's a beautiful story, and that is how I built my whole career. That we help each other, and it also reflects my crew that I'm here with the crew from Denmark, and everybody they've started volunteering for me, and now they are part of it, and like they're now recycling and building trolls. That pays their bills, and we do it. I think it's a beautiful story, and I love doing it.
It is. I think I would have a hard time though, because if you have somebody. You see them putting a piece of wood here, I'm going to go, are you sure you want to use that piece? It's your choice. But if it were me, I'd be using that one down there.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to pick out a little bit, like give people like 15 minutes, see what they can do, and if they're struggling with the saw or with some of the dangerous tools, people also know that it's not fun for people to stand and do something the whole day when they can watch the next person like doing it 100 times faster. Then it's better to take them and move them somewhere else if they're not insisting or they want to learn it. But I have no problem with controlling my projects because they're so big, so I can't really control everything. And I like them just to take a little bit life of their own, and then they grow, and then I'm more like maybe like trying to steer the ship a little bit over here and over here, but the ocean has its own will at the same time.
I was worried about you for a second,
Yeah.
that you were just. I can see the passion. I see that you've been doing this for quite a while, and I can still see that passion in your eyes that you really, really, truly enjoy doing this type of art. But if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? I mean, you can't say another type of art. What would you be doing if you were not doing art for a living?
I think I would apply the mindset I have to no matter what I would be doing. I think then I would be developing something else. I've never been employed anywhere where I haven't been like immediately been pulled into helping like optimize it. Like in all conversations I have, I've become a part of like how can you optimize it better? Like how can you ask better questions, or how can you something? So I would probably be in the engineering department of that company that I would be employed in.
Huh. All right, that's a good answer. So how did you come up with the names of the giants? Because I mean, every giant that you've done has a different name. Is there stories behind the name, or do you just kind of Google something and throw a name out there?
So because I come from Denmark in Scandinavia, which is in the northern part of Europe, we have a lot of like Nordic folklore stories about giants and trolls and different like mythical beings. And we have our own group of names up there. So I like to give my trolls names that are Nordic, but also names that I think is suitable for when I look at that sculpture. Like this could sound like a blah blah, but not like a blah blah, And then I like kind of try to do that. And
somehow
then,
I get what you're saying exactly. I mean, both of them, Mark and I both got that. I'm sure.
But at the same time, I also like to take the opportunity to give to some of the people who helped me. And then, so for example, here in this park, we have one of them is called Nis because my good old friend who's a musician in Denmark, he had a baby boy called Nis that same day. So I thought let's call this one Nis. And so I think that's just nice because for me it's just a name, but for my friend it's like his baby boy was named after that sculpture. I finished the same day he got his new son.
Yeah. So if you have a giant that's really good looking, you might name him Greg.
Yeah, but they have to be there because they come from the trolls. They all come from Nordic countries.
I see what you did there. You just kind of diverted that off, and that's not really a possibility. Oh, Mark, I tried really, really hard. So this, I can see in your eyes that this means a lot to Bernheim, and you've known about this for a while, and you've had the passion about it. You. But now that it's here, what does it really mean to Bernheim to have these pieces here?
Well, when you dream about these projects, you say, "Oh, wouldn't it be neat?" And you have a certain raise of elevation of heartbeat and blood pressure, because you're starting to say there's some excitement here. When you start seeing these guys form on the ground, in place, and with their activities, and understand the stories behind them of these giants protecting our giant forest, and then you see the first visitor come and look, and they get this giant grin. And it doesn't matter whether they're 3 years old or 93 years old.
Yeah.
That grin doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Their eyes are lit up. That really gets me excited. What it means for Bernheim is it gives us an opportunity for the next couple of years to really have a visible excuse to tell our story about the importance of big forests, of forest giants, and why these big tracts of land are so important to clean air and clean water and biological diversity. We have golden eagles at Bernheim because we are this big, and it wouldn't happen any other way. So those are the stories we're going to be telling. Then you couple that with this idea of this beautiful recycled, reused material, and suddenly the stories are doing this. We can live in harmony on Earth if we think about it. We can live with biological diversity. We can be healthier and happier and more productive if we work with the Earth rather than against the Earth. And I love the story that these giants are protectors of those forests. That to me just sings songs, because every one of us can be protectors of our patch, of our yard, our home, our community, and our forests. And that's one of the things we're going to help people understand.
And with it being the 90th anniversary for Bernheim, perfect time for that. And just to see the response, as cold as it has been around here lately, to see all the folks that are coming out to see the Giants this summer, I mean, you're either really excited or you're really scared about what the summer means for Bernheim, because I think you're going to see a lot of folks that are coming to Bernheim to see these Giants.
Yes, we anticipate there'll be a huge increase. The other places where Thomas has been, Morton Arboretum outside of Chicago, has record attendance because of the trolls, as he called them there. That's part of our fun, part of our challenge. We're here to connect people with nature. And we want to connect as many people as possible with nature. But that does mean we have some challenges. We're going to park people, get them through our gate faster. We're open 7 days a week. We want people to come out here. And one of the things I would say already, pick a day that may be slower. Get here earlier in the morning, later in the afternoon. That noontime hour is going to be hot. It's going to be exciting, and it's going to be crowded. Yeah. But you know what? Energy is what this is about. These Giants are bringing energy to our forest. We want our forest to bring energy to our visitors, and we want our visitors to bring energy to environmental protection. Yeah.
Imagine how busy it would be if one of those Giants was named Greg. I mean, that would be crazy, over the top. Maybe you shouldn't, because I don't know.
Thomas, how about if we name this one Greg right here, okay?
It's the little one. He's a little stick over in the corner. We didn't even shape him. He's just knotted up. One piece, just,
But I think, for me, I come from Denmark, and we're a really humble nation. We have written rules about humbleness, and that, I think that's one thing that we can really learn about Americans, is that you have the right to be proud of your success. We are normally raised to never show that you are better than anybody else, because then everybody else will try to get you down. And but for me, the success that my Giants have experienced the last couple of years, for me, that is it is just such a monumental statement upon how important it is to recycle and to get better of our materials. But because think about that, we have something that was discarded trash for somebody else, and then I come here with my giant troll pot, and then I put in the trash, and then I mix it a little bit with my Danish creativity, and then out comes this that can draw thousands of people to come and experience this. Otherwise, this would have went to a landfill or an incineration plant, and I think that it's just such an important statement to make, and that I really hope will always come across when I do these projects, because that is, for me, it's super important. And one thing that I also like to remind people is that most people, they think they understand the meaning of the term "one man's trash is another man's treasure," but most people, they only understand the part of it that is somebody else's trash could be worth a treasure for me. But the full meaning is, and the full responsibility of the sentence is, that if you have something that is trash, then you can give it to somebody else for whom it will be a treasure. And that is what the Bernheim Arboretum have given me, something that I can make a treasure for everybody who comes here. So remember that next time you empty your trash can, because there is gold inside it.
Wow.
And Bernheim lives that every day. We're sitting in a platinum LEED certified building, greenest building you can build under really stringent conditions. And much of this wood is recycled wood. We have columns that are pickle vat wood, cypress from Heinz pickle vats, that we reused here in this building. We try to practice what we preach. So low energy, low impact, low recycling, reuse as much as we can. So these Giants tell our story as well as tell their own story. And that's fun. But we also want people to be able to tell their stories of connections with nature and their connections with Bernheim. So on our site, we give people the opportunity, under My Story, Your Story, One Giant Story, to tell their stories about coming out here as a child, or coming out and learning how to fish with grandmother, or coming out with their children when they were stressed. and having a good day, whatever it is. Nature is restorative, it's regenerative, and that's why Bernheim is here. That's why the Giants are here. We want everybody to experience that kind of beauty in nature.
Well, we want people to experience, definitely this year as we celebrate 90 years of Bernheim. For maybe somebody that hasn't been, give us the details. How much does it cost?
Sure.
Give me that Cliff Notes version of what they need to know.
Well, we're proud of the fact that Bernheim's open 362 days a year. Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving we are closed. However, we have a $5 environmental impact fee for vehicles on Saturday and Sunday. We want people to understand that driving that car has an impact, and we want to help offset that by protecting land and water and trees. During the week, we are free. But we also encourage people to become members, because then you get the newsletters, you get informed, you have special events you can go to, and of course you support our mission of connecting people with nature. So Bernheim is the best value in the region, and there's something for everybody out here.
That there is. There's a lot of trails. I know that for a fact because I ran all of them. Not intentionally, because every time I run here, I get lost somehow. I don't know how. Unless I do the Millennial Trail, and then I never get lost.
I think we had to pull you out a couple of times.
Yeah, we don't want to bring that up. That's okay.
We won't talk about that.
We can name a trail after Greg. The one that goes to nowhere. We can do that. Thomas, thank you. I know you've still got some work to do. Mark, it's always good to see you.
Excellent.
Folks, you need to come down to Bernheim. 90th anniversary celebration is going on, and we would love to have you come down. We're going to give you a little preview of the Giants, not a whole lot, because we want you to come down here, because I will tell you, as I pulled in to come today, driving around that corner and seeing the Giant right by the lake there,
Little Niss
was a big impact for sure.
Yeah.
All right, it's Greg Milby, and this is Kentucky's Heartland.